All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with the Morning Cafe. My name is Anne Odida. It's Relationship Wednesday. And this morning we're talking about matters polygamy. Are young people embracing polygamy? As always, we have a very, very big panel in studio to help us talk about this crucial matter at this day and age. After a report, of course, was released sometime back in February by Molecular Insights that said that at least 51% of respondents, well, women, of course, residing in Nairobi, are open to polygamy. So do my panel agree to this? Are they open to polygamy themselves? That is the question we're asking you as well. Are you open to polygamy? Send in your feedback via social media platforms, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and YouTube, and on X at TV47 News KE. There is a number on your screen as always. Every Wednesday, we'll be very, very happy to hear from you as you contribute to this topic of discussion today. Welcome to studio, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just start with you, Elijah, now that you're on my right-hand side. Imekuangukia leo. Are you open to polygamy? That is the question you're asking this morning.
Yeah, okay. My name is Elijah Apareng, leadership zealot. So first of all, let me just say this. I'm a product of polygamy, especially from my father's side. So polygamy is actually, most Africans people have misunderstood.
Yes, hold it nicely. Hold your microphone well.
Thank you.
Yes.
So most of the African people have misunderstood the polygamy. This is whereby they think that polygamy is where a woman has so many wives, husbands, and also
hold it to this end.
Pardon?
Hold it with this hand. Your microphone.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So this is whereby many people misunderstood the polygamy, where men have so many wives. But in real sense, I support the polygamy. Yeah. Not because of this modern age.
That you're a product.
Yeah, I'm a product of polygamy, especially from my father's side.
Okay.
So polygamy actually is where ensuring every woman has a husband and every child has a family. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Elijah. We'll be coming back to you. Calvin, do you support polygamy?
Do I support polygamy? Now, supporting and whether myself would engage in it, those are two different things. Yes. So, supporting, do I have a problem with polygamy?
Support something that you don't agree with?
Do I have a problem with polygamy? Not really. I don't have a problem with polygamy because no one has yet has given a reason or enough proof as to why I should, be against it. So, for that reason, I have no problem with polygamy.
So would you consider a polygamous home?
Myself, as an individual?
Many wives.
Now, it depends. Yeah, and in this way, say, for example, I have a first wife. We have to sit down and first agree. Do we really need a second woman in this particular family? So then, if from that particular discussion, it emerges that she agrees and I agree, then that means that she gives consent. Then that means we can and I can engage in a polygamous, at least in that order. Yeah.
All right. Josh, polygamy, is this something that you would consider? Wewe kama Josh, useme, I'm not getting only one wife, I'm going to get 2, 3, 4. I don't know how far you can go, but is this something that you can consider?
Okay. Honestly, okay, I'm not going to give my take first, but I'm an individual who believes in statistics, or rather facts that we face as a society at this point,
Before you even get to statistics, because we will get there.
My opinion first,
yes.
Before you know exactly what you're dealing with. Honestly, I do believe it's fine as far as you can meet the standards for the same. So what's there is that, it's an issue. I don't know, he has spoken of women having many men. That's not the ideal definition, maybe in your dictionaries. I don't know which dictionaries you are using, but it's an issue of a man having many wives. That's what polygamy is. Yes. So first we can agree on that, not the woman in this discussion, of course. And with that, as a man, as far as you can provide, You can be able to cater for the family. It's fine. On my take, not really. I can do polygamy.
Love it. Maslin, would you be with a polygamous man?
Thank you so much. Koeth Masilini is my name, gender of Yasaf. So definitely, I am not agreeing to it. I don't support it completely because, as he has said, a man can actually have several women as long as they provide. Then, as long as I can provide for several men, then am I supposed to be having more than 2 men? Definitely not. So, no way.
Maslin has also brought in the aspect of polyandry, so we'll be getting into that as well. But Josh, where we come at Josh, we have 2 Joshes here. Would you consider a polygamy?
As for my take, I don't think I'll consider taking polygamy, doing polygamy, because it has a lot of disadvantages to advantages. Yeah, so I won't do polygamy.
Wewe wengi watakuumisha kichwa.
Ai, kabisa, haiwezi.
Let's get back to this other side. I want to start from you, Righteous. Would you be with a polygamous man?
Yes, I'd be with a polygamous man. Yes.
Why?
Because in as much as polygamy has a lot of disadvantages, there are many advantages to it. And number one, I'd want to base on the economic factor.
Okay.
So economically, polygamous is very, very advantageous. Yeah.
Economically?
Yes.
Are you a product of when? Righteous?
No, I'm not a product of polygamy, but I support polygamy.
Wonderful. Beatrice, would you be with a polygamous man?
I'm Beatrice of Fafa. Most definitely, I will. I support polygamy.
Okay. Why?
I do support polygamy because when you look at working class women, when you look in that context, you find that us working class ladies,
Just hold your microphone closely.
Working class ladies, you find that most of the time, most of our time, we are at work. Like we don't have that time of associating, like getting a man. It reaches a point where maybe you're 36, you're 37, then you're like, okay, fine. I don't have a kid. I don't have a husband. The only option you have, the only people available are married men. What do you do? Because these others, these other men, most of them, actually this generation, they are not ready for commitment. So you have no option. You'll go for that married man. So for me, I support it. It's a good thing. Like, sharing is caring. So why not? We can still share.
So what if the other wife is not accepting of you, hajakukaribisha, but you're saying that sharing is caring? What happens in that case?
If the other lady is not welcoming,
Yes.
you know she'll just have to take it. At the end of the day, sitajileta hapo. It's the man who wants me, and I want him. Like, it's always good. We can just share. Hii kitu tunashare too. There is no problem.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah.
But you know, Beatrice, the question that you're also asking is, ujajileta hapo, sindio? Itabidi amezoea. But you know, you have to coexist. In my language, we say, mikae kiloki. In simple terms, it translates to, you cannot change the position of the first wife at all. If she says no, it's no. If she says the husband cannot do this, she cannot do it. So in that situation now, you're not welcomed. Yeye bwana anashinda pale kwa first wife's house because amesema hataki kumuona na Beatrice. But you're saying sharing is caring, where you don't mind being there. Then don't you really put your mental stability, your mental care, you know, to perspective in such a situation, in such an environment where you're not welcomed there?
When it reaches that point, I'll let the man decide. Akisema it's not possible, then I'll walk out.
Okay. Let's hear from John. Polygamy, is this something that you would consider? Where you say, I went 2 or 3.
Today's world? No.
Why?
Because I think last time I was here we were talking about how definitions have changed of things, you know. So even the definition of what polygamy is has changed. And polygamy is resource-oriented. Yes, I cannot go looking for other people out here to fill my needs if I don't have the resources to fill theirs, first of all.
Yeah.
Secondly, siku hizi hakuna mtu wako, ni tani yako.
Ni tani yako.
Ni tani yako. Hakuna mtu wako. See? So by the time she's talked about a 37-year-old in perspective, right? Unafika aje 37? Na hizi vitu.
Hauna mtu.
It is. But the technicality of it, you know, because inafikanga mahali even parents start getting concerned, real concerned.
But sometimes hakuna mtu for real.
Really?
Yes.
I'm surprised.
Yeah,
But
sometimes hakuna
the
mtu.
point is, the game that is played is ni tani yako until people realize by the time is going. You know? And people are busy with non-issues and carrying baggage and trauma from dust that they've eaten in these relationships.
Yeah.
Such that by the time you convince yourself that now let me settle down, the only thing available in that market are those married men you're talking about. You know, but because those married men, when they got married, you are there. You are there because I'm assuming you're of the same age or the same age group. You are there. Why do you wait for someone to get married and then you start saying, oh, you'll coexist? You take your person, suffer together, and you get married, or in the event you get married, continue with your life.
Hiyo mchezo yote utafuta ukisha tie the knot utaki.
No.
Duncan, would you consider polygamy?
As for me, okay, my name is Duncan Jim,
Okay.
youth advocate, and also working for Rise and Thrive Youth Initiative. So for me, I think I'll go with yes.
I knew it.
For
They were already sold you.
so I'll give you now. Okay, so I think I'll go with yes. The reason being that most of us still believe in those cultural norms, and we are, some of us, my friend has said, a product of maybe the polygamy aspect. But when it comes to the question as to why, as to how,
Yes.
or
Really not how, but why.
why,
Yes.
yeah, I am embracing it because in some aspect, we really tend to think that getting second wife will make the first wife know that she's not alone. Maybe I can expand that. When you give birth
For
to a child,
masculine, yes.
when you give birth to a child, utaona anaanza kuwa na kichwa ngumu. So you'll have to do a second born so that ile kichwa ngumu asidhani yeye ni last born. Nasikia? So in modern world now, like the young people, we embrace polygamy in different ways. To me, you might not want to introduce the second wife to your first wife. In what way?
Why?
Because, okay, security purposes, you know. You see. So we really need like to dig deep and know, because in many areas you find out that mostly the polygamy part that the second wife is taken at home and being introduced to the first wife mostly occur in rural areas. That's a fact.
Yes.
In urban areas,
That is cheating in urban areas.
yeah.
Yes.
In urban area, it's not called cheating. It's just a matter of
If you're going
you
to
knowing
hide the
what
wife.
you really want. You see? Then, because in urban areas, you find out that many ladies au wenye wanaishi peke yao wamepangiwa nyumba na wababa. That's a fact. And they are married.
Now,
You
this
see?
is really
Just a minute,
supporting this
just a minute.
conversation.
Yeah. So we are here to say the truth, yes?
Yes.
So they have accepted the fact that there is a
someone.
first wife somewhere. But in most cases, you find out that the side chick, let me call it side chick,
Yes.
because they are second wife, but they are not married. You see? They know the first wife, but the first wife don't know them.
Yes.
You see? Yeah. You see?
That is not polygamy. You know, that is what the panel is saying.
No,
Because
the reason why I'm saying that
Yes.
is because the guy has more wives to be
If you're not married, you're not
sincere.
a wife.
to be sincere. Do you know that if you're not married, you are not
Cheating.
doing you are not doing polygamy, you are cheating, yes?
Yes.
But why cheat with more than one wife? Yeah? Why cheat with more than 2 wives?
Let's hear from-
Because
from-
we have seen many, not only one. Wamepangiwa nyumba, and in fact, the side chick or the second wife claims to be married to this guy because there are things that he gets from this guy that he doesn't receive from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Being paid for rent, being kept, so unaelewa?
Eh.
Yeah. So yeye anaelewa ameolewa, but the guy knows he's cheating on his wife.
Beatrice, hiyo at that point unaelewa umeolewa ama unaelewa wewe ni side chick ama unaelewa wewe umewekwa lakini the first wife doesn't know you exist. Yani what is the situation around there?
Okay, kwangu mi naona nimeolewa.
Bila certificate, bila
No.
mahari, bila courts, whatever.
Nikiweka kwa we are youth this generation. By then nimeolewa. Come we stay is also marriage.
No. That one is not recognized in the Kenyan government.
Hiyo mimi kwangu by then nimeolewa. Like the guy is taking care of me.
Yeah.
Taking care of my kids, like all my needs. What else do I want? Hakuna kitu ingine nataka.
So the back
kitu
of your head
nilikuwa
ni
nataka
wako.
ni, you know, the most important thing saizi ni I don't want to be a single mother.
Yeah.
And when I look at the economy saizi na hii nini ya kasongo na life nimezoea, so I have to maintain my prestige na niishi place poa.
Yeah.
So as long as this guy is taking care of me, I have no problem.
What happens when he dies? Unajua hauna certificate of marriage, hajakuoa, there is property, there's a life that you're very much used to, enjoyment, luxury. What happens when he dies? Because you're not getting any share of his property.
Sasa hapo lazima utacheza tu kama wewe. You have to be smart. You have to be smart. Like pesa nanipatia, I don't think I'll be that stupid enough. Like natumia hiyo pesa, like I waste it. Kumbuka, this is a married guy. So ni lazima nicheze poa. Pesa nanipatia, lazima nimwambie anifungulie a small investment yangu that will cater for me and my kids. Siwezi ingia hivyo na mguu yote, like kila kitu niko and I'm not thinking about the future.
Yeah.
So mimi kwangu, mimi nitakuwa tu, I'll be contented with
Wewe
that.
uko tu sawa.
Mimi niko
Sharing is
sawa.
caring.
Sharing is caring. I'll still stick on
Let's
that.
come back to this side. Maslin.
Let us just agree. I know ladies will throw stones, but now
They won't, I'm here for you.
at that point, now it's called desperation. Let's give example with her saying, amefika 37 years old and is not having someone. What exactly were you doing before you reached this 37? Because, you know, the reality is, a 37 years old man will definitely get a woman that is 20 and something. But it's not possible for like most women. At a 37 years old woman, definitely it will reach a point they'll just say, God, I just want someone that is now breathing, someone that is human being. You understand? And then most ladies that are talking about supporting polygamy, they want to be second wives. But ask them, you as a first wife, are you comfortable if your man is adding another person? Because literally, just ask, because I need my man to explain to me if I have kids.
Yeah.
Why exactly do you want to have another person? Because let's check in the old days with our parents. For example, he was saying they are product of... for the old days, they would definitely talk about this person is not having a child, right? And it's not like someone that they already looked for before. See, nowadays, you find that someone is married, is already having 20 kids outside there. Now we're talking about I want to add someone that was already there. In the olden days, they had reason to add wives. And they were not just adding. They would come to you as a first wife. They tell you, this is the problem why I want to add another wife. If you are troublesome, they will give you chances to change. And if you don't change, they will definitely, and they will let you know that we are adding another person because of this and that.
With decorum.
With decorum. They respect your position. They will tell you, maybe you don't have a boy child, and that is exactly what I am looking for. Can I just maybe add another person for the sake of having the boy child? We've tried, and even though we know biologically, it's men that are supposed to be responsible for that. Yeah. And they'll still complain about, we don't have a baby boy. Literally. If you study biology, it's men who is responsible for having a
A
baby
baby
boy. So
boy, yes.
you understand? Yeah, so I don't understand how someone that, and Beatrice is also saying very well, that I know this is a married man. Like
She
literally
knows.
she's aware. Because now, amesema ati atakuwa anacheza kiyeye. Definitely hata yeye najua she's doing the wrong thing. Because now polygamy is where people exactly know that these are your legal wives. You are married to them. There is no one that, he was saying that for the sake of what you have to keep another person. You don't hide me. If at all you want me as your second wife, I have to know your parents, I have to know the first wife, and I have to know if the first wife is okay with it. And definitely if I'm the first wife, then just know that's too much trouble for you as a second wife. Can you just go look for your person?
someone else.
Yeah.
She has talked of desperation. What causes desperation? What leads to a woman to be desperate?
Okay.
When you look at it, at this generation, actually, let me just concentrate on this generation. You find that the ratio of boy to girl, like you find women are so many. We are many.
Actually, that is changing. We read something today. Men are becoming more than women.
Desperation I was talking about, from your explanation, the man is paying my rent. What else do I need? Can't you work to pay your own rent? And if it's about you having kids and whatever, if you're a working class person, then trust me, you can get money for maid, right? What do you mean if the man is paying my rent, if the man is doing everything, what else do I need? You are definitely ruining someone else's marriage, because you can actually find, if you're working, definitely you can get money for, you have the money to pay all your bills. And and this desperation, especially the one that comes with age, it is let me talk about the empowerment that we have right now. Somebody is telling you that, go look for money first before you settle. Now, by the time you have that money, you are 40. By the time you have the money, you are 40. Now, do you want to blame people? Now, you want to take someone else's husband. This person decided to get married at 26 when he was not having that much money that you were looking for at that time. Now you are talking about, I'm 37 and this man is paying my bills. No, it's not making sense. Let us just agree.
But I did come for you.
We'll come back to you, Beatrice and Maslin. Hii yenu haitaisha hapa sahi. But Josh, Roger sahi wanasema they're coming to you because you're taking care of them, you're giving them this luxurious lifestyle, as the other lady. If the other lady is there, kumaanisha you don't love her at all. If you're very scared of introducing her to the first wife, to the family, to the world, does it mean that in this case, hakuna mapenzi, wewe tu ni wa enjoyment, and that's all that you can give me? What do you think about that?
Okay, first of all, I think I'll say at no point you can love like two ladies at once. So I think when you're going to get another lady, it's like maybe the love has imeanza kuisha, and you feel like maybe I need something more, or you're not getting enough of what you are getting from the first wife. So you think of getting another wife, maybe might maybe spice it up once again. You see, so for you to maybe go and get another lady, you might not want to introduce her because this first wife, maybe mmetoka far, you have a lot of investment, but sasa ni ile mumeanza kuchokana and something, but you don't want to ruin it all. So definitely you look for someone maybe to spice it up. You feel like maybe you're getting the sexual satisfaction or something. So therefore, you won't want to introduce her since you're getting what you wanted. Yeah.
Which is you're with someone's man. We listen, but we don't judge. Tunakuona sana. We will come back to you, Josh.
Yes.
In this case, in a polygamous setup, how does love now play out? Do you agree that you cannot love two women at the same time?
Okay, thank you. So what I can say first, it's this: the measure of a relationship isn't about how many people are involved. It's about the respect, the love, the development, and growth that comes with it. So, first of all, we have to agree that the issue about marriage and everything else is something so rooty, or rather so deep, that we can't really try to handle it in a rigid way. Factually speaking, as we can see already, how things are on the ground, you know. We know sharing is caring and other short stories, you know. And that's a fact. So we have to handle things as they are. So one of the things that touched me is about how she spoke about being 37, 35, a girl in your 30s, you're always desperate over the same. That's expected. And in this generation of ours, you know, it's a sick society, honestly. And we have to admit that so that you can be able to handle issues as they are. So first of all, at this age, we have invested a lot in, we are saying what? Empowerment of the girl child, you know? And at the same time, we are eroding cultures and values that should be embedded in a young person, you know? And this sickness that we are now facing of desperation, I want to address that. Our girls require guiding. There's no problem with empowerment. It's good. Let them be empowered. But what they require is guiding. And that guidance should not start when they are already old. And that is what I usually do at a personal level.
37 is old.
Of course, for a girl, 39, that 29 and above.
You mmekataa?
29 and above. You know, let me just, we should just handle it that way. So 29 and above. Honestly, for a girl, you start becoming old. And that is not considerable by many men. And that will be desperate either way. So let me say this. I usually say, at this age where we have empowered the girl child, what we need to do is, again, for the boy child, again, we know very well he's facing a lot. And I usually say, let's empower the boy child and guide the girl. At this point, what the girls lack is guidance. To be able to fathom the fact that simply because you have been empowered, it doesn't mean some values are thrown out. They still remain sacrosanct. Actually, so powerful, so that you can avoid regrets in your life, you know? So maybe in your teenage, you know, most girls are, I usually call them your prime years. Your prime what? Years. And that's where most men will rush and run for you, because when keki, that is a fact. You're not going to waste time on that. So the moment that the society is lying to you, social trends, social media and everything, unaambiwa enda soma, there's no problem with that. You can handle a relationship at the same time, handle your things. That is a fact. But most of the time now, uko unaambiwa mwanaume anafaa kuwa na Lambo, si ndio? Anafaa kuwa na range. Sasa, you know, you overlook this young man who is here, who is busy telling you, hi, I want you. Hi, I love you. You know, from the first day that I saw you, I knew you were my life, and all those things. And you forget and you overlook them. So what happens is this. Si utakimbilia mbaba leo, you are heartbroken in your institution. Si ndio? Ufanye ma-abortions kibao. Because at the end of the day, hadi huwezi taka kukuwa associated with these old men. Si ni ukweli? And that man is not going to take you in your young age because you're desperate, akupea 5K per weekend, akutumia venye anataka, and you're leaving that boy in those hostels. Si ndio? So this boy, I usually say, as we are now building this young man, he becomes masculine. Rejection, you know, I usually tell them it's not a big deal. Take it as a way of leveling up. They want money. Come on, do it. So that is the time that now this girl, when her senses come back, that is... She's now, no, of course she's going to see you. Already you are married, of course. One thing I'm going to tell my fellow young men, as far as you are a consistent, hardworking young man, you might be interested in somebody else, wanted dust, but at the same time, as far as you remain to be who you are going to be something very, very important at the end of the day. So, hao ndio wale sasa tuseme wamefika washawa. And that is the question ndio unaulizwa. Where were you? We don't blame this society. Just that we have neglected what is important. Guiding these young people. And that's why always we'll end up in regrets. You know, this is not an issue of judging. It's an issue of reflection of our society. So, and that is why we have to be happy when taking these interviews and discussions. So one thing I'm going to tell my fellow panelists, avoid being rigid, remain flexible, and the moment you get something teachable or something that is touching you, avoid being rigid at all, okay? So now I wanted to address the issue of polygamy in a very factual manner. Okay. Using Afrobarometer and DHS, it shows that less than 15% of young Africans are into polygamy. That's factual. And one thing you have to know about polygamy, it's not cheating. What you are talking about is cheating, you know? Polygamy, you know what is marriage? There are certificates. The church knows. That is marriage.
That is to Beatrice
and my friend.
Friend here.
So that's what yeah, that's what it is, you know. Though that is to see iweke umalaya, no, hiyo ni umalaya. That's a fact, you know. We should not waste our time defending that. But you know, the hizo ndizo vitu kwa grow. You know, that's a fact. It's happening. So, but that is not marriage.
Yes.
So when you speak of polygamy, as now it should be, or as it is by definition, and withholding the same, it remains to be clear that less than 15% of young Africans are into this. Tracing the origin, we know it used to happen mostly Middle East,
Yes.
of which it's prevalent even nowadays, but still reducing, not really what they used to uphold. And then we can also go to South Asia, and now some part of Africa nowadays, of which traditionally it was something very, very prevalent, you know. Then when you go to the Western culture, of course, monogamy takes the day, and that's how we are learning from them, from
the Western culture.
colonialism.
Of course, as always. Let's hear from Calvin. We'll come back to you even as we
Okay.
continue to expound on that matter. But we were talking about the issue of love and how it plays out in a polygamous setup. Inamaanisha you don't love the other woman.
Now, the role of love in a polygamous marriage.
Yeah.
Now, you know, I'm here thinking, you are a parent, you have 5 kids. Does that mean that you love one more than you love the less? I think as a parent, it is your moral obligation to love all those kids equally. Now, applying that same analogy in a polygamous settings, it then means that you as a man, because all these wives are yours, then it means that, I mean, you can share this love equally to each and everybody. It is possible, very much possible. Very much possible, very much possible. So there is the law of love in a polygamous marriage, and there is a praise for it. Also, addressing his issue on a legal setting of a polygamous marriage, I think it is imperative that we look into what Kenyan law says. We have I think the Marriage Act, I think of 2014. It gives room for polygamous marriage under customary law and Islamic marriages. Now, in customary law, if you are married in a custom setting, you are allowed to be in a polygamous setting. Or in Islamic, whereby you are allowed to have a maximum of 4 wives. And of course, there are caveats that you should meet to be able to do that. But if we look at it from a civil, now, in that same Marriage Act, in now civil law, it doesn't have room for polygamy marriage. It doesn't have. But if you do it under customary law, then it is allowed. But now the question is, how many people here in Kenya are in marriage that can be recognized by the government, like they have a certificate or something?
Can we stay major?
Yeah, pick 10 people, random people, 10, ask them, are you, can we stay? So when we try and bring the issue of legal aspect in a polygamous setting and saying that as a second wife you should be married legally, then it's just an idealistic view that doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up.
All right.
Yeah.
Righteous, do you believe, nimeona ukikataa venye amesema, you can still love your wives equally just like you would love your children. So do you agree that that can be the case in that setup?
Yes, it can be the case in that setup because when you get into such a setup, such an arrangement, you have in mind that I owe these women an obligation to love, to take care of them, whether emotionally, financially, mentally, either way. So it is a duty that I put to myself that I have to honor. I believe that you can love someone or more, 2 people or more equally without favoring one more than the other. And we've seen it with our forefathers. There are many polygamous arrangements in the country, in the communities, we've seen them. And the women are loved equally. They are both flourishing. And yeah, I believe it's possible.
You know, I want us to put this so realistically. Hata kwenu mkiwa wengi, there's always that one sibling of yours that you say, mama napendanga huyu sana. You know, even in that polygamous setup, if you're looking at it, maybe utapata the first wife amepata so much land. Her house is more beautiful, she has a lot of things. And if you're talking about love can be equal, kuna yule anakuanga amekuwa favored more, as much as you want to accept it or not.
Okay, you've mentioned that the first wife will have a better house and stuff like that. That brings us to the aspect that she's been there longer than you. Her contributions to the marriage is more than yours, be it non-monetary or monetary, because she was there during the hustle. You've been with her through all this period.
Yeah.
So
you do agree that love is not same in that setup?
It is same. We're getting to that point. We're getting to that point. Listen, because she's been here longer than you. Of course, the time to build money, wealth is built over time. You've only been there for 2 years. How do you expect to have the same house and you haven't put the same contribution to the marriage? Of course, you have to put some contribution, either monetary or non-monetary, I repeat. So the second wife might have a smaller house, but that doesn't mean she's not loved equally. Nah. Maybe the first wife has more children. The second wife might be having 1 kid or no child at all. That doesn't mean she's not loved. We're just being economical. Why should I give you a 10-bedroom house and you don't have kids?
All right. Let's hear from John. John ni kama ameshangaa sana na that comment.
I'm shocked. I am. I'm literally shocked. Okay, first of all, today I find myself agreeing with Marceline, and I don't have a habit of agreeing with gender officers. I'm shocked. You see, love is a perception, you know. And whatever you've just described, even with children, it is perceived, you see. So the way you've said, someone came at a particular time, someone has been there longer than the other, someone has contributed more than the other. The reverse is also true. I have stayed with you for 10 years. It has become a bit monotonous. I'm investing in this one because this one I am still campaigning to. Nilisha kuwin, wesi uko hapo, right? This one I'm still campaigning for them. So you'll actually hear the first wives also complaining that nowadays you spend a lot of time with this one. Okay, so you find that it is perceptual. You can't start telling them ati, oh, ona nimekujengea, oh, ona nimekufanyia, nimefanya. Or
Love is action.
Yes.
Love ni action.
Yes, but at the end of the day, that is also true. At the end of the day, it is perceived. Okay, there are things I can do, and you won't really see them as love. You'll see them as responsibility. You see? So it is how we view things from where we are standing. Even with children, it's not that parents love them differently. It's just that the children perceive each parent differently. You see? Because they come at different points in their life. But if you ask a parent, every parent you ask, they'll tell you, I love all my children.
Of course.
But if you ask children, they'll say, oh, anapendeleo, because it is perceived. It is their own. It's how they're seeing from how they're being treated because of various factors. But at the end of the day, it is perceptual. Yes.
All right. Duncan, sasa wewe una support polygamy. Tell us how love will play in that setup kwa nyumba yako sasa. How do you show them that you love them equally, or is there room to love them equally, ama kuna mwingine atakuwa anapendwa zaidi kushinda mwingine? Inakuaje?
Okay, for me, let me maybe answer my brother first. On matters, he said that maybe we are confusing cheating and polygamy.
Yes.
The topic that brought us today is about young people embracing polygamy. You see? And in the setup of the modern world, let me say generation millennials or the Gen Zs, we have had this experience of we not doing the marriage legally, but we do the come we stays. You see? In most setups, if you look at the ages 18 to 37, not everyone, even if you enter an apartment, like 80%, 90% have no legal documents that they are married. You see? That's where cheating comes in. Because mama ako kwa nyumba. Nasikia? Na in most setups too, you find that that come we stay has gone to you having more than 5 kids, that woman. And it's not marriage. You see? So hapo ndo sasa unaanza kuangalia, there is this, the perceptions where my sister was saying that you are at 37 years and you are not yet married, now you have no option. You see? Hapo pia kuna changamoto, because in the modern world, ladies tend to not want to start with you from the bottom line. They want when you have reached up there. Nasikia? And that's where second wife comes in. because you have no option. At 24, 25, 26, umeandikwa kikibarua, unaambia man, I'm an independent woman. Yeah? I'm an independent woman. At 37, you're still independent. Alafu kidogo anasema, nimekuwa independent sana. Acha niende niharibu ndoa ya ule. Unasikia? And what I know and understand, when someone speaks of second wife, that means that second wife must be legally married. That's why she's called a wife.
Yeah.
And you cannot be legally married and you hide it from your first wife. You see? And that's where consent comes in.
Yeah.
And in most cases, you find that hapo kuna IPV, intimate partner violence, because you never had a conversation with your first wife that you are adding a second wife. You see? Now, let me leave it at that point. Now on to your question.
Yes.
Love is perception. You see? And ideologically, it is that we children, let me call myself a child because I'm still someone's son.
Yes.
You see? We tend to think that my dad or my mom loves my other siblings more than me. Reason being, maybe I'm not good in education, you see? I'm not, my work doesn't pay me well. So you may think that the older siblings are loved because maybe they support their parents financially, but hapa wewe bado we ni bongolala hapo chini, you don't have something to do, you don't give out as expected, you see? So I think it's always perceived that, but I don't understand and I don't get it why someone would say that love cannot be shared. Love can be shared even when you marry two wives. If you really didn't love the first wife and wanted to marry the second wife, as you claim that you'll not be sharing love, then you would have chased the first wife away so that you replace her with the second wife. Unasikia? But there's another thing that the second wife, the second wife atakuwa napewa mingi kuliko the first wife. But she has broken it down that when you start life with someone, you might take 20 years to grow. You see? And growth and development is like partnership you do with your wife. You see? I've married you today, tumeanza kwa shida. Unasikia? So you will like, we are starting from grass and we really need to develop. After developing for 20 years, umeona nyewe, this woman has deserved what I've given to her. Hizo ma 3-bedroom house, 5-bedroom house. The second wife that will come when you are legally married to her and there is a consent of your first wife, she will also have to start from where the first wife started. You cannot tell me that you sasa umejengea bibi ya kwanza 5-bedroom, second wife pia unamjengea 5-bedroom because you want the love to be fair. That means you will not be having the risk. Hata kuna mtu akiingia kwa hiyo boma atajua nani first wife. You see? And first wife is someone that has to be respected because at the longest time she has stayed with you when you had nothing. In most scenarios, you find that the first wife ni mtu mwenye ameishi na wewe kama haukuwa na kitu. Then you have grown together. You see? You have businesses. And the second wife sasa that comes with 37 years, with 37 years,
yes.
you see, with 37 years, was an independent woman for like 13 years back, you see. So she's coming to kwa mtu mwenye amejenga. And what I know with young people, and the ladies can attest to this, you cannot be a second wife in a broke family setup.
Sawa. Let's
see,
hear from Mercy. Mercy na kuna swali.
Let me just finish.
He's talking about sharing love, that if he had another wife, does not mean that he does not love the first one.
Yeah.
If you can love as a man and you can share love, can't I share love as a woman? Do you think if you can love me and love another person, do you think I can't love you and love another man? Do you think it's not possible?
Now you are bringing
That is how polyandry.
No, based on his explanation, I'm just trying to understand. He has said very well that adding another person does not mean that he does not love this one. That means that if I love my man, I can actually love another person because I'm sharing. Is that not what he's saying?
Now let me just finish
Okay.
up, then I give my brother the microphone. As I was saying, and you as a lady, you know, you can never be a second wife to a broke person and a broke man. And you will be very happy calling yourself a second wife to a rich person than calling yourself a second wife to a broke person. Let me leave it at that point.
All right, let me ask you a question first, even as you want to respond to that. You're saying you're a product of, a polygamous home. And I know you're notorious. One time, I've marked you for this. You say that you cannot live with an empowered woman.
Yeah.
So if you're choosing your setup for, your wives,
Yes.
how do you select them? Do you select those ones that wale wamekaa ushago, ama do you really go for the one who is empowered, the one who is working, a career woman? How do you select them? And now how does love play in that setup? Wewe kama a polygamous man, because you've declared that you are.
Yes.
Yes.
So, okay, thank you so much. First of all, let me just say this. This, I don't know the name, but
Masculine.
before you want to run from polygamy, let me just tell you, a divorced woman is not a single mother. So, don't run from the polygamy.
A divorced woman is not a single mother.
Yeah, a divorced woman is not a single mother. This is where it comes whereby, even you are going somewhere there, you have practiced polygamy. So as I said earlier, I'm a product from polygamy. In our culture, a man or father actually is the one deciding for you, first woman, because they know that you're going to make blunder in the future. We always marry at the age of 16, 15 in our culture.
Okay.
So parents actually decide for us, first woman. Then the second woman, now I'm grown up, then I will be able to identify this as a good woman. Yeah.
Why exactly do you need a second wife?
Because, maybe, for example, let me just say, I have my kettles, so I want to grow my family.
Yes.
So, because in our area,
That is cultural now.
Yeah, we follow the culture. Yeah, so we give out the cows to the second woman. Yeah.
Back to the question of empowerment. You did not answer that one. Do
Okay.
you select them now that your women, you marry them at around 15 years, 18 years? First of all, a 15-year-old is so young in this day and age. That is an underage.
No.
So how, it is an underage. A 15-year-old is an underage. Say you're eligible to get married if you're 18 years old as a woman. So 15-year-old, hiyo ni kama
That is
unataka
according
kwenda
to the
huko.
modernization now. This is according to
According to
modern.
law.
That is law, but according to culture.
Elijah,
Yes.
how do you select them now?
So,
Unaenda yule ajui
no.
maneno ya life ama unaenda?
No, I'm just going for a place whereby he has a mutual love. Actually, mwenye ako to humble. Yes.
So you would really actually love a 15-year-old umwangalie hivi na useme you're my wife, you're the one I want.
I will just tell him, you are the one I love. But we always go to the parents. We are going to convince the parents. Then after the parents go actually accept, they just go direct to their daughter. Yeah, this is a husband for you, and we are going to give you. Just follow him.
Ochieng, a 15-year-old. How does that sound like to you? Just hand over the microphone to him.
First of all, I wanted to laugh. Then I remember that we have to respect everyone's culture. Yeah. Because, just a minute, you know we are from different backgrounds. And everyone's cultural norms has to be respected, up to date, whether you are from the rural areas or you are here in urban areas. There are people that follow the rules of their culture till to the grave. So that's one we have to accept. Then there's this aspect of 15-year-old. As a youth advocate, we don't advocate for marriages at that age. Because, in fact, that's not called marriage, you see? But according to their culture, of which we have to respect, it's called marriage. But according to us, it's defilement, you see? So there are repercussions towards that. I don't know whether maybe he can expound more, if at all, me, with my own culture can associate with them and maybe get a 15-year-old girl and get married, sitafungwa. Nitafungwa, si ndio? So there are some things that we young people try to maybe kusahau tupeleke na nyuma. Because we young people, when we follow the cultures that our forefathers had used, will keep on messing in today's world. Kwanza hiyo sekta ya polygamy. Wewe ni 21 years, unataka kuoa wanawake watatu. You even can't manage ule mmoja mwenye uko nayo. Hata wewe mwenyewe hujui kujimanage. Unasikia? You will be like unaweka mtoto wa mtu kwa shida. Na hiyo mimi na support girl child up. Sina gari. Don't go for like someone that maybe, I'm talking because I have sisters and I know how it feels. You see? To go to someone that maybe does not love you as you love him. You see? So we really need to maybe dig deep inside the cultural aspect. Do we leave the cultural aspect behind, we as young people, and do our part as Generation Z and Generation Millennials? You see? Because the moment we turn back, we are going to mess up. Not only as individuals within the area, but as a country at large. Because we are headed somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sawa. Beatrice, I'll now come to you. You know, we were talking, umesema true, when amesema if they are broke, you cannot go to them. Wewe ni champion for polygamy. If a man is broke, you cannot go to that man. But would you share that man if he was broke at that point? And do you now agree that that is desperation? You're just going after that man for his money?
First of all, honestly, I cannot be a second wife to a broke man.
So ulisema sharing is caring.
Yeah, okay, sharing is caring, yes. But, sasa unajua ni mimi. Like ni mimi, you know. I'm hustling. Like nauza, nakata mboga. Alafu naenda naangukia bodaboda. Haiwezi.
No, sasa hiyo unakuwa discriminatory sasa.
No. Haiwezi. If I'm becoming a second wife, then inafai kuwe na msako na do. Uongo mbaya.
So we just have to agree on this. Apart from financial stability, do you really have any other reason to be in a polygamy marriage? Let's just talk clearly. Because all these things, we're just going about, you know, I can provide, it's money, it's money. If you live alone that, do you have any other reason why you should?
Of course. There is a lawyer saying that goes by, I'll translate it directly. Like you cannot cook for blood. It means that companionship is very important. Even if it's sharing, but you need to have someone. But even if that person is married, lazima uwe na mse.
But based on whatever you are saying, she's directly saying that if it's not money, then we are not doing it. Because if you cannot, if it's companion, then if you are a mama mboga, then you should not sit uncomfortable to have a boda person. Then if it's not finances, then what is it? And if you're literally working, then you can actually get any other thing.
Companionship.
Why can't you have a companionship with a boda person?
Can companionship only play where
does it only work with people with
listen. Wait a minute.
Does it only work with people with money?
All right. Let's hear from Rashes as well. Alisema yeye pia, she's supporting polygamy. But would you do it if the man was broke?
Number one, no. Logically. Kwa sababu hatutakula mapenzi. Hatuwezi kula mapenzi. But we also have to consider kwa factors mingi. Number one, we have to survive. Lazima to survive. We have to eat. We have to look at the future investment, stuff like that. When he's broke, he can't even take care of the home. Number two, if he's, we all know men. If you're not financially stable, mentally amuko sawa. Will a man who's not mentally stable take care of a home? No. And then maybe just to answer pale.
Elijah amesema no. That is very, very positive. Kama amesema no.
Good. And just maybe to answer pale kwa 15-year-old getting married. Legally, it is not recognized. Because the law says a marriage should be of people who are of 18, of age, people who are 18 years and above. So if a person is 15 years, the marriage won't be recognized by law. And that brings the issue of inheritance and stuff like that. Even though the law provides for succession in a polygamous setup, it also brings up the factor of unfairness, because it says there has to be fair distributions between the homes. But then, back to my point, this lady came in later. Her contribution to the marriage is very minimal. Why does she deserve an equal share to the first wife?
But now, why do you want a man who's already made it? Mwile akona pesa, yet they made it with this other woman. If you cannot go to now a man who is broke.
That's just logic. Then also to go back to the point that sisi wenye tunaenda kuwa second wives, I'm not manifesting that. I'm just saying we are of age. We are of age. Milisema tusha kwa 37 or something of the sort. If I'm 37, trust me, I have my finances in line. I have my life in line. So why should I be with someone who doesn't understand himself? Well, I don't mind supporting him, but he should have some direction. The man should lead. If a man cannot lead a home, then why should I subject him to a two-wife homestead?
All right, we'll be coming to you, Duncan, in a few. Josh, you wanted to comment on something?
Yes, thank you very much. So, first of all, I would like to help us decode. We had a question concerning can men handle
Empowered women.
And there's the issue of more than two. How is love going to work there? How is love going to work there? So I'm going to help us maybe have facts or rather some knowledge that is important to help us decode the facts surrounding that. First of all, in the year 2007, by David Bass, that is, or Booth, I don't know how you want to pronounce the name, and evolutionary psychology, he said that a variety of men will consider a variety partners for that is companionship and everything else. Historically, and that is to say, speaking of how it has been for so many years before this modernization and revolution that has taken place, 80%, that is worldwide, of communities have shown the fact that what has been happening is that naturally men could handle several wives without any form of disparity in showcasing their love. And the families were working superbly, very, very well. Another thing, we have the infidelity statistics. Infidelity statistics is where we speak of cheating and everything. Men are inclined to do that. And sometimes you might not even realize and they will be able to handle you well, at the same time handle the side chicks properly, and that is going to happen properly. So we have also the issue of polyamory, and there are so many statistics supporting the same. So naturally, a man is able to handle that. That is not a question. And most of them can handle. Now sometimes utaijua, even in a marriage, you know. And that is true. But now the question comes in here when you're speaking about the issue of how will you be able to show it in a family properly and directly? Okay, most of the time, there are so many things to consider. And I said there is no rigidity when handling these things. You know, if I have my girl, example, I'm in school right now. We grow together. And of course, become successful. She's also successful, of course. We have built so much. So assuming I consider getting a second wife. Okay, being a lawyer or a law student, as a jurist, I really legally consent of your girl matters. And if she agrees to have my second wife, you can't expect to see my second wife, the shares and everything being the same. Those are just conditions that must be taken care of, you know. They must be considered. They must be taken care of. So this is an issue of how it is and how we can handle it. So that's not to show that the man doesn't love. No, it's just that conditions and circumstances dictated to be that way. So that the first wife will always be richer than you. The second wife, she's just charming, new in market. Most of the time, the boy or the man is interested in her, you know. So that's to say, for me, I don't want to be rigid when handling these issues. What I want to say is polygamy has never been bad. And there's no point in time that you'll hear anybody disregarding it entirely and give you convincing reasons. But this is my take to to my fellow youths out here at this age. Unajua hizo enzi za babu zetu, we are going to speak about as Africans, and we know it has been prevalent for so many years. Those days we had thousands of acres of lands. We had kettles. We had a lot of things that, livestock and everything, you know, they were rich, they were wealthy. That is true. In nowadays, I'm just a young man trying to make his own empire. Just what I have is my academics. Yeah, two cases, you have your father only, your mother only. Even if you have them, sometimes they are surviving in the city. True or false? So facing things as they are, honestly, okay, kwa grao mambo ni different. There's a lot of cheating and everything, and some of them, they come stay, they're treating it as marriage, and we are arguing, yeah, that is not polygamy. But now, if we have to handle polygamy as it is, as a young man, I'm going to tell you, just avoid at all costs. At the end of the day, it's not sensible to tell me that you're going to handle that. And that is either way, not marriage. So I have some principles, values to guide
At
you.
what age would you say that polygamy is recommended? Tafika point gani sasa ile age gani yenye utasema now you can add a second wife?
I usually don't see any reason. If I am going to grow with a certain girl,
Hold your microphone well.
assuming I have a certain girl that we are growing with, I don't see any reason as to why another one might come. Because as I said before, I said the
You are
major...
advising the youth. You are
Yes,
advising
yes,
the
yes.
youth. You're telling them that now you don't see a reason why they should add wives.
I want to be realistic at the same time. If you have to realize sometimes what is going to trouble some of them as they are sitting here last, interest is lost in your wife, all those things, you know. Are they really summing up to anything substantial? Not really. Because there's no way I'm going to disregard you as my wife who has been with me simply because I don't feel it anymore, which for me it's not really summing up. But if you have to do it, of course it's come later when you have something for yourself, you know, when you have money and everything, you know, to make it polygamy. So that is what I'm going to say. But now I was saying something before you interrupted. What I was trying to tell them is this. Hatuko zile enzi za maekari ya mashamba, si ni kweli? So we have to be realistic, and as young people handle things as they should be, si ndio? Unless you are able to cater for the same, then take things up as far as unaweza cater, take care of the girl, because at the end of the day, as a brother, siwezi taka kuona sister yangu pia akiteseka, as they are pointed out. It's true. And I also can take that. But mostly speaking for the young, for the Gen Zs and the millennials, hizi si zile enzi. Ndio maana tu you'll just keep on cheating and lying to yourself it is polygamy.
Elijah, hatuko kwa hizo enzi. Hatuko kwa enzi za ekari za mashamba, according to Josh.
So you want to tell me that you want to move away from the culture?
You're a man of culture.
I'm a man of a culture.
Okay. One thing I have to say is this. I highly respect culture, and I usually believe I'm a Pan-African. Some of the people who are staunch supporters of the likes of Traore. Did you know what he has done to his country? I'm really a person who doesn't really like the neo-colonialism happening around, and I support him. It's okay to be in your culture, sindio? But no, I'm going to ask you, how withholding or withstanding is your culture at this point? I'm made to understand your recalling, sindio? You said, unasema just want to handle you as you have come kuniuliza about the culture. So nataka tuanzie na wewe. Okay, I want you to be realistic. Ulisema ng'ombe zinapatiwa your second wife, sindio? Ng'ombe ngapi? Do you know when you're speaking of the same? Ni ngapi? Mbili.
I want you
not
to go
really.
direct to the point of the question that you want to ask you.
Yeah, just ndio namuuliza tu. Mbili.
In a range of 45 to 60.
Okay, thank you very much. So, how many young people in our generation now are able to have the 45 to 50?
Josh ameshangaa sana.
Hatuna shida. There's no problem. There's no problem. We have people who can handle that. But
He's also Josh.
Oh, thank you. We have yeah. Just had King Josh or call him Ngetich. It will be different, okay? So what is this? So you said it's not 2 cattle or 2 cows, ni 45 to 50, sindio? So looking around and what we are seeing with the young people, the people that we are having in our nation right now, where capitalism has taken roots. Capitalism is something that is suffocating the entire economy even right now, you know? We have the cartels, you know, but that's a fact. That's what we are facing as a nation.
Just hold on to that point. Let's come to you, Kelvin. You know, somebody there, I don't know if it was Josh or Maslin, one of them mentioned that sometimes it was Maslin. Men's fear of commitment is pushing them, you know, to this arrangement where they now want to be polygamous. And also Uchieng mentioned something about sometimes the first wife anaona kichwa imekuwa ngumu, and then they say, let's add you another one to now cool you down. Is that fear of commitment? And that's why most men are going towards, you know, polygamy, wanataka walete mke mwingine nyumbani.
No, I think as a man, when you're going into polygamy, you're going there because you know and you believe, and when you measure yourself, you know you can handle another woman. Then that means you're not running away from commitment. You are actually taking in another commitment because you're committing yourself to another woman. You're not running away from a commitment. So logically, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. Now, coming to my good friend here, I think culture should evolve. I believe that.
So let me just ask for example.
No,
Allow him to finish
in a
first.
simple term.
Allow
In
him
a
to
simple
finish
term,
first, Eliza.
Culture should evolve. For example, we have the Maasais. It is in their culture to circumcise women. But to be honest, even if it is part of their culture, that culture should evolve. And we are growing, and we are into this age where we are doing away with things like FGM. Now, honestly, saying that you're going to marry a 16-year-old kid because it is part of culture, it just doesn't add up logically, even emotionally. And what are you doing to that kid? 16 years, honestly. So I think the ideal setting of a polygamy marriage is whereby me, as Kevin, for example, I have a first wife here. We sit down with her, we agree that from how I see I met this girl somewhere, now I think I should bring her in as my second wife. Now she agrees, then that gives us consent, and we organize. That's an ideal way of working it out. But now saying that I'm going to take another girl somewhere and then bring her in without even telling the first wife, then that is cheating, and it is not a good way or an idyllic way of looking at it. Yeah.
You wanted to respond to before we head into Chieng.
On this issue of what he wants to run from the culture. So,
no, Josh, I'm not running away from the culture. I'm saying culture should evolve. Yeah.
Let me just ask you. For example, if she lost her husband, do you want to tell me that he will just stay forever without a husband?
No, that is different
That is
from
not
what we are discussing here.
We like continuity from the culture.
I understand that culture sometimes, if you are talking about now the husband dies, you're talking about now your brother, you as the brother now taking her in as the wife. But no, she's allowed to remarry if she wants. She's a widow at that point.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that. That is not culture.
So let's just all accept the polygamy now.
That is not polygamy if
That
the
is not
man is
polygamy.
dead.
No.
He or she's a widower.
I had asked him a question, like, why exactly do you need a second wife? Like, you have someone that when you wamesema wanaenda, maybe the parents, they go to a specific woman's home and ask their consent in marriage, and Now I don't, because now if you want to be a poly, why can't you just have 3 of them at the same time and say, I want to marry 3 of them, and let's agree? Why must it be like you have to stay after 10 years, you add another one. After 15 years, you add another one. What exactly are you lacking? And that is why I was saying this is now running away from responsibility, because who say that women are not the same? Because emotionally, we reason with our emotion, most of us. So you can't say that if I'm emotional, then if you marry another person, she's not going to be emotional. You understand? So I still don't understand why exactly. Because if we have to talk about polygamy, then we have to look at the reasons, like the way our parents used to. First, this person, maybe she's not having a kid, and you want kid, right? This person is having kids. You guys are well. Financially, you are all doing okay. Just the way I said, mmeanza na chini pamoja. Unafika hapo katikati. Now, is that the reason? Now you're trying to, if it's a woman that is now saying that, let me run away from this person, utasikati yo tulianza na yeye chini, alafu ikafika hapo katikati akatoroka. Why is it that for men, it's very easy for them to justify the fact that it is for men, they can actually do that? Why exactly do you need a second wife when your first wife have no issues when it comes to kids? You have both gender. Let me say you have boys and you have girls. You also, you're not doing bad financially. You're okay. Because now fights in relationship is normal in all marriages. Why do you need to add another person? Because it's your culture, right?
Yes. So first of all, President from Switzerland has 20 wives.
She's asking about you. Why
So
do
me,
you want?
because actually, for
another
example,
wife?
I can sustain the relationship for more than even 20. Yes.
More than 20 years.
Yes, because
Interesting. Let's hear from Ochieng.
Okay, so before
More
I
than
attack
20
you,
wives. Yes, okay.
before I attack the two, let me just be precise. There's one thing that we cannot take from the other person. That's their culture. And that's a topic that maybe we can have a conversation on when time comes, because he respects his culture. And you don't understand his culture. So you want to know more, and that will take time. Then back to you. Let me just be like an advocate, advocating for maybe peaceful conversation before I say what I want to say. So I heard them saying about they cannot be a second wife to a border rider.
To a broke man.
To a broke man. Speaking as a boy child, na kutetea wanaume nchini. I just want to say that that's where the fact that you stay long without marriage and you bring the option of being number two comes in. Because if you cannot start with someone that you call broke to be having a border, then why do you have to go with that guy who has a Benz? Because we have seen most people grow from border riders to car owners. Sini kweli? And if you cannot start with someone hapa chini, that's where problem comes in. Then, Josh, this is the first time we are on the same track. So there's this issue of young people and polygamy. Young people, we tend to want or do the things that our fathers have been doing. In what way? We are at 25 years, but we want the lifestyle that they have lived for 60 years. You see? Unaona mtu ako na G-Wagon, you want it at 23, na yeye ameanza kuiendesha at 40. You see? Now that's where pressure comes in. And that's where the aspect of polygamy comes in. And polygamy at a young age, maybe I don't call it polygamy. In fact, that's cheating and laziness and maybe, you are not contented with this one. You are still in the market, to be clear. You are still in the market. You are not sure if this will be your wife or you are still looking for. And in Nairobi, she said sharing is caring. But if you go to the border rider, she still claims there is nothing to share. So why do you have to be a second wife to where you don't feel that you are loved? I think love, everyone deserves love. Whether you are disabled, whether you are broke, whether you are mentally disturbed, whether you are any sort of person in Kenyan context or in African or in world, you deserve love just as the same. You cannot tell me that a border rider, siwezi mpenda juu anaendesha nduthi. Na labda hiyo nduthi hata ni yake, hajapewa ati atapeana do jioni. You see? And maybe he has like 10 of them. You see? So we really need like to equip ourselves as young people. And apart from being empowered, we really need to grow. Learning is a process, and it never ends now or tomorrow or in the future. It's a process that needs all of us to be obligated to. We really need to adhere to one thing. If you really need to find love, love comes in very many packages. You see? Kuna wenye anasema my love what's in word of affirmation, love languages, word of affirmation, money. So if you go there with intentions of getting money, definitely you won't get the words of affirmation. And when the money bank froze,
love is over.
Love is over. You see? So we young people, the setup that we have here, we really need to maybe look back to our culture and see, how did my dad end up with one wife in the bracket of 40 years, 50 years? Nasikia? How did my wife, my dad encourage the first wife so that they can welcome the second wife to the family? And as she has said, Marceline, right? She has said that ladies love with emotions. And that is a fact. That's true.
Yes.
And we cannot maybe do away with that. Now the question comes in. The same way you are a lady that you love with emotion is the same way that second wife loves with emotion.
Yes.
Now the problem comes in when you start thinking that tumetoka mbali na huyu jamaa, mbona saya nigeuke? That guy has not turned back on you. In fact, maybe he thinks that it is high time the extended family comes in. You see? That's now according to culture. That's where extended family comes in. But when, yeah, I'm supporting you this time. so when we bring about the factor that extended family comes in, are you in a situation or in a property that you can maybe grow up these people together? Because one thing I know is that most ladies, to be precise, the generation that we have now, are looking at someone who has already grown. You see?
Yes.
Uko na apartment, uko na nyumba, sijui nini, hata kama competition ni single room na bed sitter. She, with that love emotions, she will choose this guy with the bed sitter. But now, let me put this into your mind. Peace of mind also matters. You can find love, a lady with that emotions, still love this guy in a single room. And she has been ignoring those guys with the GLG, Benz, vitu kama hizo. Unasikia? That's because the problem is that we men feel that we are insecure. You see?
Wanafanya sauti.
Wanaelewa hizi vitu. So women are insecure. And that applies also to ladies. That's why in most cases you find that ladies maybe can get into your phones, look whoever you're chatting with. When you are called, she's like, who's that? What are you talking about? She wants to know more. So that she can know that maybe kuna mwenzangu pahali. Unasikia vitu kama hizo. And that is what brings us to this conversation. When it comes to kuna mwenzangu pahali, do you have to open it up to her? You see? Now that's another thing. Because do you have to open it up to her? That
do you have to? I'm asking you that question.
For me,
do you have to?
Why do I have and I don't have?
No.
Yeah.
If at all, put it in this situation, if at all there was someone, and akuja kuulize if hiyo ni mwenzangu, would you tell them that yes?
If at all there was someone, because my organization works with the issues of mental health, GBV, and others I don't want to mention, you find that setup, your question umeniuliza, do I have to? Probably, I'll tell her that we need to talk. And we have a candid conversation on that matter. You can start by asking, what if nikiwa nayo? So that you can find, you can reason with that. You can unaweza muangalia a sense of thinking.
What if nikwe nayo?
Yeah, what if nikwe nayo? You see that question, italeta ile majibizano, and you know that hata nikileta kumuintroduce kutakuwa na shida.
Okay.
You see? So you have to test someone's mind for security purposes.
You know?
Yes, Beatrice.
Now, let me just finish up, then I give to Beatrice. Now, when you have that conversation with her, that's what Joshua was saying, concept. You'll have to come to terms and agreement, because maybe she has been unable to sire with your child for the past 10 years, and you feel like you need a child. And you find that maybe she's reasonable. She will say that as long as me am at home, then there's no problem of you having a second wife. Because the moment you call someone a wife, I know there are procedures that one need to follow to be legally married. You see? So that's a conversation for us to avoid issues IPV. Hapo ndo napata mwanamke umelala usiku amesema kuna mtu anataka kuchukua, anakudunga kisu. You see? So we really need to have these conversations before they get to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Beatrice, I want to ask you this question. Would your perception change if you are the first wife? Would you still say, karibu sana home? You know, sharing is caring. I don't mind having you here.
Wait. Sasa hapo. Hapana.
Lakini you want to break somebody else's.
No, hapana. If I'm the first wife, obviously I feel siwezi taka, honestly. Siwezi taka. That one is a no.
Why?
Venye amesema, like you start up with someone from scratch, you know. You grow with this person, like you hustle with this person, umeka hapo like kila kitu yako, it's ni yeye, you know. From nothing to something in life. Alafu inafika point yenye msa nakwambia, it's either you bring me someone, ama I get someone. Aki hiyo hapana. Aki for me, I cannot.
Lakini umekubali kwa second wife.
For second wife, no, I can be a second wife. Because I know all the attention will be on me.
But are you not considering that first wife's feeling? Yani mwanamke
mimi yangu,
kama
by the way, I'm just open to it. mimi inaniwakia if I'm a second wife. But another lady coming,
that still take us
hiyo
about where we were talking about it's the financial thing. Yeye anaona ile uchungu ya we've started down coming up and now another person and now when it's her turn to be the second wife because she has not seen the struggle this man. So even the ladies who are second wives, they literally know.
Yes.
Like I know this man has already made it and there's someone. That is why it is always possible for them to know the first wife, but the first wife does not know them. Because literally, and me the only thing I can actually say is there's this Pastor Tim Wange, I heard him saying that the portal to which you used to having a marriage is what will use to sustain that marriage. And he said 3 points. One, if you got this guy or this man through sex, you will need more sex to sustain this marriage. So this day that if you reach a point where there is no sex, there is no marriage. Same to men. If you're really working so hard to have money so that you can have a specific woman, a day that money will be over in this home, there will be no marriage. And there's a point where love fades. And the only thing that sustains the relationship is respect. So if you really, because most of them will be like, this woman is stubborn, I don't feel like I love her again, let me get someone. If you get another person, that love will fade. So the only thing that will sustain the both of you is respect. So if you cannot contain this person because you don't love her anymore, that person, the second person, I always say, if this woman, maybe this guy is chasing his wife away to have another person, trust me, he's going to do the same to you when he gets another person. So if he has respect for his wife, there are some things that men will not do if they respect someone. Because it is very possible, when I'm working with my guy, and he sees another lady somewhere, it is very possible for him to turn around but now, because in his mind already has thought of something, but it's now the respect that he has for me will not make him make any move physical, but just know in his mind he has done it. So
happened.
it is the respect. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me just add something.
Okay.
Let me just add something. We have to accept that this generation, the young generation, the Gen Zs and the millennials, we are open-minded people. Like if an idea has something good behind it, we'll embrace it. I believe that the most important thing with this generation is honesty. As long as you're honest, like I'll be happy, I'll gladly embrace the fact that my husband brings me a co-wife or my husband has another girlfriend, but I'm in the know that person exists. So what do I call that? What do I call them mpango wa kando? See, that's marriage. Like, I mean, they know this person exists. There is a co-wife somewhere. Instead of this man having, what do we call them? Clandestine, yes. Relationship.
Yeah.
Na ukumbuke tuko na, there is a diseases ni mingi, ni mob. So me, I'll prefer that. Like, I'll embrace that if he tells me, you have a co-wife or I have another girlfriend. And that's the sweetness. Or let me say that's the
spice.
Yeah, about this generation. Like honesty. If you're honest, then.
Raishes, would you accept to be in a polygamous home if you are the first wife?
Yes. Because I believe other women also deserve love, number one. Number two, if I agreed to open up to a polygamous marriage, I knew that I'm open. I knew that other women will be brought into the picture. So, in Amanisha, I agreed to the fact that kutakuwa na other people from the beginning. So why would I change my mind? So I'm open to being the first wife in a polygamous relationship.
Right. John, do you agree that it's about fear of commitment from men? That's why they're going for other women, just to fit in some arrangements. Because hawataki commit, mtu amekukasirisha, you're saying unaniletea kichwa, let me bring someone else.
No, not really. I don't agree that it's about a fear of commitment because that is increasing commitment. Sababu kama ulioa kisirani, wa pili there is a fair enough chance haya ni kisirani. There is, because she said it. So, the thing is, you're increasing commitment, you know, because these are people you need to provide for. These are people you need to protect. These are people whose needs you need to cater for, you know, whose needs and the needs of their offspring or your offspring you'll need to cater for, you see. Therefore, the little discontent that comes about is an issue, because I think where I come from, they say co-wives are enemies. Hawa watu hawasikizanangi. And if you ever, and if you'll ever wait for them to agree and be on the same page, then you will be the enemy. It will be about you now. Yeah? So you'll find that you cannot use someone's discontent or someone's character as a reason to look for someone else.
Okay.
And it cannot be a version of commitment. In real sense, you're only increasing your own commitment.
All right. Josh, would you say that right now the current generation, the young people, are romanticizing polygamy and they don't actually know, you know, what they're doing? Tukisema kwamba polygamy is reducing, we're now going towards the Western culture where monogamy is a thing. Polygamy was there kutoka kitambo. Are young men doing it right, or are they just romanticizing it?
As at now, I can say young men are not practicing. They are like romanticizing it. Because you find that when somebody, I think we'll get back to that point of commitment. You feel like this girl may be niwechokane, so you think somebody else, you want to try out different. You feel like somebody else is different, or people are different, are born differently, they do things differently. So you feel like whenever I have this second person, you'll get something different. So I think people are just trying to do it, but in a better way right now. Because you find that also people, unapata msee amesota, but they are trying to sugarcoat it by maybe saying I'm in a relationship, but in real sense, you're not money from this guy. In real sense, you're not there for companionship. You just want this money to satisfy yourself. The other thing, you can't say you're in a relationship because being a second wife, because this guy
Is broke.
yeah,
Or has money.
yeah. So you being in a relationship, first thing, I don't know what you're doing until you're 37. If you're young, you should be ready to engage with anybody, having the sense that this person will grow. You see, now you're 37, I don't think you're there, you want to choose somebody to marry, if it's broke or not broke. Because I think when umejieka at that point,
Okay.
and you're not, you're there for companionship. You want somebody. It's not about money. Ama umeka, you go to that age looking for money, right? So you have money. Maybe you look for somebody now for companion or love. So at that point, I don't think you'll choose somebody venye ameka. Maybe now you take anybody, so long as at least you're getting the companion and love. Yeah.
All right. The topic of conversation was, are young people embracing polygamy? Maybe you can just sample a few comments here. Gladstone is watching, anasema best, and Gladstone is a panelist here, frequenter. Anasema based on the recent research, more women are open to polygamy marriages than in the past. This is a shift from the norms where men were more open to such setup. However, women get into not for love, but for economical stability, get a child, and for social validation. Gladstone, kuna mwingine amekubali hapa anaitwa Beatrice. We have Shali anasema, personally, I'm not sharing poa wangu, and that's on period. Kipyegon Langat anasema, don't try this without many. Kennedy Nguri anasema, that's God created Adam and Eve 1-1. There is no shortage. Look, what's the age distribution between the two genders? It's lust drive that moves such choices into the equation. Huyu anaitwa Barnacles anasema, if you gave me the choice of those two in particular, I'd rather cut my own knob off, like looking at a couple of pigs. Alafu Paul anasema a recipe for hate in the family, don't subscribe to that. Wenye John amesema hapa, in a polygamous setup, it's hard for two to coexist, the wives. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for making time for us on this week's edition of Relationship Wednesday. Are you people embracing polygamy? Are young people, you know, considering polygamy? Are we romanticizing it? Ama tunajua ni nini tunafanya? That's it. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Anne Odida. That brings us to the end of the show. Good morning. Enjoy the rest of your day.